back. This is the Cast Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy BE, along with Louisa L. And on the board, John Don Sterling. The Cast Podcast. This show, we have a special guest. She needs no introduction. I know I say that every time, but she really does need no introduction. This female I have on the show is a female. She's a person that does many things. She's a model. She's a fitness coach. She's a life coach. She's a video model, TV, acting, and she's kind of big in the Florida scene, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. I kind of got introduced to her because I was helping out a casting director cast a music video for a prominent Afrobeat artist, and she kind of came up. She's known in social media circles. You hashtag her, one of her pictures or one of her IG, photos will come up, and especially in Florida. If you're in Florida and you're looking for different models and different photo shoots and videography type stuff, she'll definitely come up, and that's what exactly happened. During a casting call that we were doing, I put in a hashtag, and all her, it was like a couple of different hashtags, and she's been able to populate the internet. She's also going to be expanding this year, next year, 2022, and she's big in Florida. She's big in other southern states, and she's just going to be nationwide. We have the fortunate appearance to have Miss Tisha Marie modeling. Tisha Marie, I get a soul clap one time. Miss Tisha Marie modeling is her IG, her social media, but her name is Tisha Marie. You just call it Tisha. And thank you for having me. Soul clap one time for my girl Tisha. What's up?
Hi, how are you?
Good, we're good, man. Highly favored and blessed. Like Charlamagne the God said. I'm just joking.
Yes.
I think he say that. I don't know if he say that. But if he don't say that, I'm gonna take it. It is. Let's speak about what you do, your upbringing, your come up. How you kind of came up on the social media scene, the modeling scene, the hashtags. How social media plays a part. Let's just run it down. What's your portfolio? What's your bio? Who's Tisha Marie?
Yes, for sure. Yes. So thanks for having me. So when it comes to the modeling world and social media is like the main source of my income and how I find all of my gigs. And over the last few years, everyone knows the algorithm of Instagram, TikTok, all of those things are very important. So when it comes to making posts, hashtags are very important. Like you said, you found me by typing in a hashtag, and that's mainly how most of the people who hire me find me. They type in Miami models, Fort Lauderdale models, West Palm models. If you type any of those in, you're most likely to see at least one of my pictures. I usually tag just about every city whenever I do post. But that's basically it. Just promoting yourself and being able to talk about yourself and get that information out. A lot of models feel like they're talking about themselves too much, or that people don't want to see them this much, this and that. But when it comes to promoting yourself, you have to be able to talk about yourself. And honestly, people call me cocky or that I'm obsessed with myself, and that's perfectly fine, because that's a part of the modeling industry. You have to represent yourself. You have to put yourself out there for other people to notice you.
So what did you do to position yourself? Because like I said, like you said, the hashtags, pretty much any hashtag with modeling, music videos, photography in Florida, you pretty much populated that whole scene. What did you do to kind of, work the algorithms to get Facebook, Instagram, they're the same company pretty much, to kind of put you, position you in as the person who's elite in that field?
Yeah, for sure. It's mainly about consistency. So I post every Tuesday for Tisha Tuesday. So my page and my algorithm on Tuesdays is when my followers see most of my work. That's when everyone's on my page. So you honestly have to find a rhythm for yourself. Either it's posting once a week or posting every other day. You just have to find that rhythm that your followers can be able to follow, as well as like me getting my name out in South Florida. I had to reach out to models, photographers myself. I'm in everyone's DMs like, hey, come join one of my events. And in order for me to eventually get paid for these events, I have to host these free events, which I host once a month. So just hosting these meetups for models and photographers is really huge for me down here in Florida, because there's no scene of people getting together down here to create art for free. Usually someone always wants a payment, or someone wants to get paid, like models and photographers. So to be able to create this platform for people to come and join together and to exchange artwork for free has been really crucial for me, because that also gives me the opportunity to, tell these people that come to my events to, tag me, share my page, share these videos from our events. And that is honestly how I gain my clientele.
So, pretty much, like, what was your upbringing? I know that you didn't originate from Florida, because I kind of know your backstory. But where did you come from? Like, where you were born, where you transitioned to, and how did you get to Florida?
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually born in Detroit, Michigan. I was actually lived there till I was about 9 years old. The reason why my parents moved us to Nashville, Tennessee after that is because of my cousin's death. He was actually murdered at a gas station while we're actually having a family get together right down the street. So after that situation, my family, my mother and my father just thought like, hey, we need to get our kids out of this environment. It's not going to be good for them to grow up around these things and to, be so young and to see death right there in front of their face. So that's when they decided to move us to Nashville, Tennessee. And I was there for 16 years before I recently just moved to West Palm Beach in July.
Okay. Well, a lot of debate. Well, let's talk about Detroit, because Detroit, I've interviewed a few people who've actually on our platform. We've interviewed people who have been like, film directors, film producers, concert promoters. We've interviewed people who also manage pretty big artists, and they come from Detroit. And Detroit is, the home of the automobile, the whole automobile industry, home of Motown. And there's a lot of talent in Detroit. And what I've noticed from the people that we've interviewed and the people I've talked to is that there's so much talent, but people tend to move a lot from Detroit. Why do you think that is? Because a lot of talent originate from Detroit, but they don't end up staying. The people that we've interviewed have either moved to like, Houston, Texas, or California, for greener pastures, where they've excelled, and here comes you, you've also had to leave Detroit because of the traumatic experience that you experienced, and you moved to Nashville, and then also you ultimately moved to Florida. What is it about Detroit that you feel like people who are superstars or superstars that are making have to leave there?
So I will always love Detroit, and Detroit's an amazing place. But to me, for African Americans, especially women, to succeed in Detroit is quite impossible. And why I say that is because it's a predominantly Black city. So when it comes to, our country helping our city, like for instance, today, there's some of my cousins who still have lead in their water. And it's just like, I feel like there's no hope in Detroit. No one's trying to fix it. No one's trying to help it. So when it comes to succeeding in the city with no hope, it's quite impossible. So for me, just getting out of the city and being able to, be in a school where, there's not shooting every day, or not shooting inside the school, but, shots being fired while we're in school, or just that environment is just not safe, especially if you want to succeed without being in the drugs or gangs. It's just really hard for young Black Americans to succeed in Detroit without, going to jail before they're 16, 17.
You said that you saw a traumatic experience in Detroit. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about mental health and health in general. And, you feel like certain impoverished cities bring on traumatic experiences for people that help them to excel, that, this is like a motivating factor, or like, how does that help mold you to who you are today? Because something like that, seeing something like that young, people may not understand it right then and there, but it's in the back burner, but it can also fuel who they tend to be later on. And people don't know what the backstory and stuff like that is. What do you think of stuff like that?
Yes, for sure. And especially me being 9 years old, experiencing like my cousin passing due to someone pulling a gun out at him at the gas station. It was just mentally put in my head that, like, any day could be our last day. And for people to put violence and drugs over, someone else's life is just crazy. So I want to be able to, I don't have any kids now, but I want to be able to raise my kids to know that, look, like, you're not promised tomorrow. Keep your head on straight. I'm not saying I'm going to be so strict, but I don't want my kids to grow up in that type of environment. I want my kids to feel safe walking to the store. I want them to feel safe driving in the car down the street. It's just different environments mean so much when it comes to raising a young Black future entrepreneur.
Got you. What do you how did you get into the modeling thing, and the fitness and the coaching? Like, what's that backstory? Like, was there any inspiration? What made you kind of want to get into that or venture into that?
So in high school, I was on the dance team, but besides being on the dance team, I was a really shy person. I didn't like, human interaction. I know that sounds weird, but just like having simple conversations with people were kind of awkward for me. Being in front of the camera was awkward for me. And my brother was an R&B artist back in the day. And
somebody that we know, or somebody that we know? Your brother's somebody that we know, or no?
Maybe people in Miami. Yeah, his name's Shamaz
Gotcha.
Music.
Okay.
But seeing him in front of the camera and doing his thing with his music, he allowed me to be in like the background of some of his videos so I can get like that one-on-one, insight on how the things go in the industry. So I can personally say he did motivate me to become a model. I was actually wanted to be an actress at first, but growing up, I had speech problems and was shy, like I said. So acting, being an actress was not a good idea because I literally would go to a casting call and freeze up, wouldn't be able to speak, and it was just horrible. So the next option, I saw these girls in the magazines walking on runways, and I'm like, hey, well, maybe I can do that. So that's when I began taking photo shoots, and I think 2015. And I honestly fell in love with it. I wasn't perfect at it yet, or I'm still not perfect at it, but I grew to love the artwork and I grew to love myself. And honestly, over the last 2 years, I fell in love with fitness. And honestly, in order to be a model, you have to be in shape. I'm not saying you have to be a size 2 or 4. I mean, you have to be a size 4 if you're doing like runway stuff, but anyone could be a model if they put the work in for it. So being able to look at my body and say, hey, I want abs, or hey, I want my waist to look like this, and then being able to work for that for a year and a half, it was crucial. Like, it's just so amazing to see how much the body changes and how much your outlook is on the artwork itself.
Dope. That's dope. So I mean, what's next? What's next for you? You and I've conversed about different things, but what's next for Tisha Marie and her modeling career and her endeavors? I know you're doing the coaching, and I know that's big, with the health, fitness, and advisory and consulting. That seems to be like a big industry right now. I know you're doing that. Like, maybe you want to expand on that. The reason why you chose that.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's next for me? So, as you know, but not everyone, I do some coaching. I coach models all over the U.S. Most of my models are in Nashville, Utah. I have a model in Africa, actually. So, being able to work for these agencies and these people, these clients, is very important for me. Being able to spread my awareness and to be able to spread my knowledge. So in the future, I really hope to start a modeling school. That's why I'm doing these meetup events. You kind of have to have like the proof of your work before you can get a license to run a school. So over the next year, I'm going to be building my resume up to be able to call the home training a modeling school. And that's very huge for me. So another thing is, a lot of people don't know this, but I write a lot of contracts for private businesses, whether it's a dental business, whether it's a yachting company. That's most of my work that I do. So being able to write these contracts for these businesses also allows me to promote for them, which also allows me to either get some of these products for free or be able to use like these yachts for events or Airbnbs for events. So just being able to connect with different areas of different industries is very huge for me. And it's honestly helped me a lot. Even though like people look at my Instagram, I have like almost, I think 6,500 followers, and they're like, oh, I don't know why you don't have more followers than that. And that's because all of my followers are real followers. Like I've grown those followers by myself. I didn't pay anyone to like give me 500 followers, 1,000 followers, nothing like that. So just being able to have real followers who actually support me is more important than having, 20K, 30K followers that really don't mean anything. Because at the end of the day, they're looking at your work and your professional work, not how much you can bend over in front of the camera, spread your legs. It's all about the art, not the body.
Cool. I mean, that's it, man. I mean, pretty much have made it do what it do, pretty much. You know what I mean? So we thank you. And that's it, man. Yeah, so he's gonna punch everything. And let me stop this right.
This one was in 2020.
Dope, that's dope.
And last one. Oh, piece of it.
Dope.
Nice. I got a question. How long does it take them to pick the final picture?
Forever. No, I'm just kidding. It takes them probably like 2 months or so. And then like an extra month for like publication. So most of these I waited months before I even seen like what picture was in the magazine. And then like most of the time, like I have a different like taste than the photographers. Like most of these pictures are okay, but like I had like other pictures in my mind, like, oh, they're definitely gonna pick this picture, and then the magazine comes out.
And they
like,
didn't pick it.
Like that's not the picture I wanted. But it's fine, it's a publication, whatever.
So you don't have say in what pictures get picked?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
That's interesting,
man. I mean, thank you for coming on. We gotta have you. We're gonna have you for like a part 2, because I wanted to bring. Actually, the reason why I wanted you too, because Louisa, who's our co-host, she's also a model. So maybe later down the line we'll have both of you guys here. And I don't know what's going on with her, but thank you for definitely coming on and discussing. What would you like to say? Any upcoming model or fitness guru or coaching person who wants to, you know what I mean, about like the journey to get to like, where you've been able to get at?
Mm-hmm. I would probably say if you want it, go get it. I used to always say I want to be a model, but yet I was still sitting on my butt not doing anything about it. So if you want something, take a day, sit down, write down exactly what you want. A lot of people say I want to be a model, I want to be this. What type of model do you want to be? What type of work do you want to do? What type of fitness do you want to do? There's always those other areas to the main area that you need to figure out. So once you figure out what you want, go get it, period. Like don't stop until you get it.
That's dope. That's dope. Message from the wise one, Tisha Marie Modeling. And I mean, that's about it, man. I mean, we pretty much covered a lot of stuff we learned about the coaching. We spoke about your come up, how you started from Detroit and moving to Nashville, ending it out from Florida. And your modeling, how you kind of had to like break the ceiling. And I guess I wouldn't even say you kind of broke it, you kind of alleviated, because to be breaking through the ceiling is to be able to be at the top. And I don't think you can really ever be at the top, because there's always places to get higher, right? So you're always achieving. So you might be able to break barriers, but you have to always, there's always barriers on top of barriers, right? So you're continuing you're continuing that climb, as a female, as a Black female, and just as someone who's an entrepreneurial businesswoman, which is probably the hardest out of everything, right? And we commend you. Thank you for coming on the cast.
Yes, thanks for having
me. And is it, one last thing, because we all have a voice and an opinion, just how you use yours. What would you like to tell people out there? What would that one thing that you want people to recognize of Tisha Marie?
One thing to recognize about me, I don't know. I'm just an all-around very positive person. I'm very calm. I'm very unique. I like to not only think about myself, but think about others. So I will always put my clients before myself, and I just want to see us all succeed together. I really dislike when I see, like, I've had multiple people come up to me and be like, oh, I want you on this show, and they just use me for the clout. I want us all to succeed together and to grow as a family. Everyone I come in contact with, I call them my family. So if we're not family, we ain't making money. it's not business. So
Got you.
just spread positivity and love, and we will all be happy in the end.
One more question, and then we're gonna end it off. What are you gonna do for 2022? Like what is different in 2022 upcoming that you're gonna be doing different than what you've done in 2021?
So in 2022, I'm going to start back traveling and shooting. So just being able to get back to traveling. I mean, this new variant of COVID came out, so who knows what's going to happen in the next few months. But
Right.
I'm looking forward to getting back to traveling. And I have a shoot in Canada next month.
Oh, congrats. Yo, John, right here, my
you gotta
in Toronto. He's in Toronto, so you know, you guys can go see a Drake. Maybe not a concert because of what's going on, but like, you know, go see Drake, you know what I mean? But you know, that's an inside thing if you guys didn't understand that, but it is what it is. But you know, you guys right there, that's my man right there. He's right there in Toronto. So, you know, definitely gonna have to pick her up when she touches down. John, you know how that shit goes.
I'll be your personal chauffeur.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
You
Show me around.
He'll just be personal. I don't know if he's gonna be chauffeur, but he just
yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's great, man. And that's what I was trying to tell you is that, you know, you kind of were taking off, right? Like, you know, again, I didn't even know that you were from Nashville and Detroit. I just thought you were in Florida because you've inundated Florida, you know what I mean, with your pictures and your beauty and just what you've been able to do. But that's great that you're expanding because you can't be too comfortable in one place. If you just come comfortable in one place, you're not doing anything. You have to be able to be everywhere. And that's dope that you're going to be in Canada. I think you're going to probably be all over the place. Like I think you were doing California like recently, right? Or I thought I saw a post with Cali. I don't know. Maybe it was something different.
It was, yeah. I should be going back out there sometime next summer.
Okay.
So we should see that. And usually try to hit like the north places in like the spring and summer just because it's so cold.
Do you see yourself leaving Florida, or just that's your home base and you just travel? That's it and come back.
I think my business, whenever I do start with the home entertainment training, it would definitely be in South Florida, but I would definitely always build my dream house in Nashville. I want to own a farm, a lot of land, become more decked off. So the fast life is definitely not for me, but I'm dealing with it right now.
Got you. That's what's it. That's what it is. And you know, spoken from a wise business entrepreneur. I mean, it is what it is. This is the cast: Tisha Marie, modeling, John Don, and I'm Sammy B. We all have a voice and opinion, just how you yours, the cast. Salute, 2022. God bless. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.